The rain poured relentlessly, merging with the sweat that already drenched Sergeant Tom Walter's fatigues. The jungle around him felt alive, the sounds of rustling leaves, the chirping of insects, and the distant hum of Huey helicopters filled the air. Every step he took seemed to echo with the crunch of mud and foliage. His foot sank deep into the wet earth, but he didn't dare falter. His squad was relying on him. Tom wasn't new to this. He'd been a Marine for 3 years, but the chaotic, unrelenting nature of Vietnam wasn't something training could ever prepare you for. Back in Paris Island, during boot camp, he and the other recruits had marched for hours, sweated through drills, and braced against their drill instructor's sharp barks. Brotherhood, they called it. Discipline. He had carried those lessons with him to Vietnam, but out here, it was survival that ruled. "Sarge!" came a hushed but urgent whisper from behind. It was Private Castillo, barely 19, his freckles half hidden beneath a layer of grime and fear. "You see that up ahead?" Tom followed Castillo's trembling finger toward the dense, dark thicket in front of them. The shadows played tricks on his mind, but his gut told him something was off. "Everyone, hold positions." The Marines froze, scanning the jungle for any sign of the enemy. Insurgents, the Viet Cong, moved like ghosts through this terrain. The jungle belonged to them. Every tree, tunnel, and trail, a trap waiting to snap shut. Tom's pulse quickened as he raised a hand to signal their radio man. "Contact Hawk 2. Let them know we might have company." The war wasn't like the movies back home. You didn't charge screaming into battle. You waited. You listened. You prayed the enemy didn't see you first. Tom crouched lower, feeling the weight of his rifle against his chest. Then it happened. The world erupted into chaos. The first crack of a sniper's rifle lit the air, followed by the sharp pops of automatic fire. "Ambush!" Tom shouted, diving for cover as bullets tore into the vegetation. Adrenaline surged through his veins. His training kicked in, eyes scanning for movement, shouting orders. "Cover fire on the left!" Suppression toward the ridge. The firefight felt like it lasted a lifetime, though it was only minutes. By the time the gunfire died down, the jungle felt eerily silent again. Through the smoke and smell of gunpowder, Tom glanced around the clearing. Not all his men had made it. Private Kelly lay slumped against a tree, motionless. A medic was already by his side, shaking his head. As the squad regrouped, Tom felt his throat tighten. Kelly had been just a kid, a boy with a love for Motown, always cracking jokes to keep morale up. Now he was gone. A part of Tom wanted to scream, but he swallowed the pain. He had to. For the rest of the men, for the mission. Marines were taught to keep moving, no matter what. That night, as the squad set up camp, Tom sat alone, staring into the dim glow of his cigarette. The jungle around them seemed to whisper, its shadows a constant reminder of the enemy who could strike at any moment. The faces of the men he'd lost over the last few months haunted him. Kelly, Ramirez, Jones. Each name weighed heavier on his heart, yet he knew he couldn't let it show. A Marine leads from the front. Tom thought about his family back home. His mom, who cried the day he left, and his younger brother, who looked up to him like he was invincible. What would they think if they knew the things he'd done here, the people he'd killed? He wasn't the same person anymore. War had stripped away his innocence, replaced it with a fierce loyalty to the men beside him and a cold, unyielding focus on survival. As dawn broke, Tom stood, adjusting his helmet and slinging his rifle over his shoulder. The mission wasn't over, and the squad was counting on him to lead them through one more day in hell. With a final glance at the photograph tucked into his pocket, a snapshot of home he hadn't looked at in weeks, he steeled himself. Paranoia and sweat clung to him as heavily as his gear, but he pressed forward. In the end, Vietnam would leave its scars, not just on Tom's body, but on his soul. He'd return home someday, but a part of the jungle would go with him. The faces of his brothers in arms, the crushing weight of his decisions, and the lesson he'd learned in the shadow of every ambush and gunfight. Survival wasn't just about living through the day. It was about finding something, anything, that made it worth it. And for Tom Walters, it was his unwavering love for the men who'd stood by him, no matter what. That brotherhood, it wasn't just something drilled in boot camp. It was everything